Good afternoon, this is Jeff with Sewer Tech Northwest. Sorry, in a windstorm right now, my umbrella just blew into me. Anyway, Jeff with Sewer Tech Northwest. We are here at 848 Chestnut Way here in Silverton. I describe everything as if you're standing in the street facing the front of the house. Just to the right of the front doorway here, we've got a 3-inch ABS cleanout embedded in the concrete with a little brass plug. We're going to check the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. Water's running. We are zeroed out, and off we go. Hoping for no construction debris in the line. That is the #1 culprit that gets these newer houses. New construction houses, anyway. Especially if there's a secondary cleanout access. Very common spot where gravel and junk gets dumped down the line. Just swapped over there to 3034 PVC pipe, 4-inch diameter. So far, line's looking good. That right there is the #1 culprit that gets new construction. They're almost always in a driveway or a sidewalk, and for whatever reason, they commonly do not get caps put on them, and they go to pour the driveway, dump concrete and rocks down them. During the pandemic, I've done almost 25,000 scopes over my 13 years doing this, but during the pandemic years, out of about 500 brand new homes I did, I was at almost a 90% failure rate, and I don't use that word unless the line's backing up. Almost every home I did needed hydrojetting to prevent a backup from happening, so very good idea to get these things checked out. Anyway, there's the main lateral connection, about 46 feet. We're going to go locate the camera head really quick here while the line drains off. Thus far, good looking sewer line, but we'll get a better view once it's all drained out. Alright, located the camera head successfully. You've got some pretty good landmarks here that'll show you where the line's going, in case you're curious. Between the cleanouts, and there's also a curb stamp. You'll see an S stamped in the curb, directly in line with, actually this line pretty much runs dead straight. If you follow it in a straight line all the way out to the road, you'll see an S stamped in the curb. That just shows you where the line crosses into the street. There was a spot, I want to say, around the start of the 3034, the green pipe we're in now, where we may have had just a teeny bit of standing water, but we'll see here. And if you're new to home ownership, best advice I can give you, in fact, you can tell right here that some amount of stumping got down the line. That's a little bit of concrete. Luckily, that got cleared out of there, and it's not meaningful what's left. But anyway, if you want to keep your line clean like this, the biggest factor in your line staying clean is not putting greases, fats, and oils down your kitchen sink drain. I have seen people develop half-inch thick layers of grease throughout the entire sewer line at a 10-month warranty inspection on these. It makes a great deal of difference when you especially have little kids in the house that are balling up their toilet paper. Helps prevent stuff like that and other improper items from getting stuck. And the grease buildup just makes blockages stubborn. They're much less likely to break loose naturally. So right here at about 16 feet, you can see how the water's still rippling a little bit. This is a very minor belly. Yeah, if this were a used home, 5, 10 years old, 2 years old even, I would honestly barely even mention what we're going through right now. It's so tiny. That amount of standing water has essentially zero bearing on functionality at all. We're talking like a 1/16 of an inch of water there. From about 13 to 16 feet. It is way too minor, in my opinion, to require repairs, whether it's brand new construction or not. Way too small. However, I do recommend, and this is the case for even the home inspection into things, it's always a good idea to do another inspection just before the warranty is up, assuming your one-year warranty does cover sewer line. Every now and then, I'll catch a handful of these. Oh, it does persist back in here a little further, actually. That's kind of what I thought from the get-go. So it runs from about 12 feet to 16 feet. Super, super minor. For reference, I don't even consider repairs until there's at least an inch of water for a minimum of 5 feet. And that's a rule I developed years and years and years ago. Nowadays, I've backed way off on that, and most of the bellies that I'm recommending, they're an inch of water for 5 feet or worse. Typically speaking, they're very close proximity to the home, and usually in old, rough, nasty pipe materials like concrete and cast iron. You get a coupling effect of rough materials and standing water. Plastic pipe, that smooth walls of those pipes mitigate so much buildup and things from happening. It's incredible. So that amount of standing water there has no bearing on flow whatsoever. The only thing you'll see consistently hanging up in water that minor is if you're dumping a lot of cooking oil and grease down the line. And that stuff will build up anywhere, but it tends to concentrate around standing water because it hardens up so quickly and floats to the top of the water and sticks to the sidewalls. So best thing you can do, kind of the rule of thumb to live by, I tell most people, is if you've got enough grease or oil on your pans, and if you turn them sideways, this is when the pans are hot anyway, or warm. If there's enough on there that it flows off the pan in beads or worse, you don't want it going down your sink. Let it cool down, wipe it out with a paper towel, scrape it off into a garbage can after it's cooled, or pour it into a jar. Teeny little bit of water here too. This is not even going on a report, it's so minor. A thin little, you know, it's at that point where you've got real quantity that you want to do something about it. Thin little coating of Pam spray is no big deal. Just always use hot water, always use soap, and if you do have some fairly greasy dishes and whatnot going, you know, you're cleaning off, let your hot water run for about a full minute longer than your last dish was washed. That helps to ensure that any grease that does get down the line helps to keep it melted and emulsified until it gets all the way to the main. When you shut your water off immediately after you're done washing a dish, while it might stay warm through the crawl space, once that pipe hits the exterior, it cools down almost immediately. And so you'll often you'll get a lot of grease building up on the outside. So just a good rule to live by. You can keep your line nice and clean just like that if you mind those P's and Q's there. Anyhow, great flow of the main lateral, all the pipes in good condition. Couple very, very subtle imperfections in the line. They're nowhere near repair worthy. I do always recommend you rescope just to ensure we don't catch any progression. And so just kind of as a disclaimer to that, I cannot tell you how many thousands of warranty inspections, 9.5 times out of 10, somewhere around there anyway, they look exactly the same 10 months later or so as they do now. I catch a handful. It's probably 2 to 5% of lines I'll see progression. And if we do see notable progression, I would ask for it to be corrected, because at that point you don't know if it's going to continue to progress. But most settling occurs almost immediately after a line is buried. Typically the only things that occur or that can cause progression are usually bad pipe joints, where the joints are sucking the dirt out from underneath the sewer line, causing hydro erosion, which is a much more common thing to see on older pipe materials that are worn out. So just be aware of that. It's most likely everything's going to look just like it does right now, but it's, you know, if there does happen to be a problem, it's somebody else paying to rip the driveway or the street open to fix it. So anyway, the line as it sits here now functions beautifully.